and gentlemen, greetings. Welcome to Casual Discussion, the show where we talk and try to have fun. And today do I have to? I mean, it's 2020 for everyone. Isn't there enough suffering in the world? Don't I deserve a break too? Do I really have to talk about that movie? Okay, let's start by the beginning. When adapting a novel into a different medium like a TV show or a movie, there are, in my opinion, 6 different types of adaptations. First category is the faithful adaptation, the adaptation that will follow the book as closely as possible. For example, there is the famous Green Mile, which in addition of being a fantastic movie, is also a very faithful adaptation from the Stephen King novel, and personally my favorite Stephen King movie of all time. Sorry, Shawshank Redemption fans. The second category are the movies that takes liberty while adapting the book, like Ready Player One, for example. It sticks to the core principle of the book, but it tells somewhat of a different story. And remember that different doesn't mean better, it doesn't mean worse, it just means different. The third category is the category that divides the fan. For example, the Harry Potter have a very dedicated fan base as a book, but there is the team that think the movie is better and the teams that think the books are better. And Game of Thrones have the same divide, for example. The fourth category is the category that I will personally call the hopeful one. These adaptations are bad, like pretty bad, just like the Percy Jackson movie, who were terrible, but they opened the door for a bright future for another type of adaptation. And right now we have a new Percy Jackson project in progress, and I personally think it is a very interesting concept. The fifth category is the category that plain out destroyed the original medium. For example, Jurassic Park has been one of my favorite movies since I was 4 years old, and I was in high school when I learned that it was based off a book. Then there's the sixth category, the infamous sixth category, the movie adaptation that should never have happened. Typically those kind of movie that you watch and you say, why does this thing exist? Today's topic, the worst adaptation from a book to a movie of all time, The Seventh Son. Before we dive in, I just want to tell you one thing. This video will contain very strong opinions. So if you are afraid of subjectivity and you think that I should not be allowed to tell my opinion on this piece of shit, this video is clearly not meant for you. A little backstory first. This movie is adapted from the Spook book collection written by British author Joseph Delaney. It is also called The Last Apprentice and the Wardstone Chronicles. It had a pretty impressive run of 13 books followed by 3 official sequels under the name Starblade Chronicles. So why do I think this movie is the worst book adaptation of all time? First of all, it is pretty bad. Then, a personal point, the Spook collection is my favorite book collection of all time. They shaped my teenage years, and even today as an adult, I like to reread them sometimes or to redive into the lore. So if it was not clear enough, this video is not gonna be objective. The story of the book goes as follows. Tom Ward is the 7th son of his father, and his father was himself the 7th son of his own father. Being the 7th son of a 7th son, Tom does possess some powers like seeing in the dark, knowing when danger is close by, and having some immunity to dark magic power. These powers allows him to become the apprentice of John Gregory, the county spook. A spook is somebody who will protect normal people against witches, demons, boggart, etc. So eventually Tom will start his training with John Gregory, who has been a spook for over 60 years, which means that even at 80 years old, the old man kicks ass. Tom will then meet Alice, the niece of a witch who was raised to use dark magic, but he will turn her into a very valuable ally. With the help of Alice, John Gregory and other allies, Tom will fulfill his destiny, which is to protect the county against everything that might hurt it. I'm about to spoil, so I'm gonna stop right there, plus we don't have the time to talk about all 16 books. If you want to know more about the Spook collection, just go listen to the audiobook, buy the book and read them, or just go on Wikipedia and try to find as many information as you can clearly find something.
Books are for losers!
And you see, that's why you never finished high school. So what's the problem with Sergei Bordov's 7th Son, the adaptation of the book? Apart from the fact that even as a standalone product, it sucks more than just a little bit, to be polite. First of all, even before seeing the movie, we have a capital red flag. This movie is not supposed to be an adaptation from the book. It is supposed to be an inspiration from the book. It reminds me of this old excuse, it's not Dragon Ball, it's Dragon Ball Evolution. So right off the bat, congratulations movie, you managed to use the same excuse as one of the most hated movie of all time. Proud of you movie? Are you proud of you? Then second red flag about this project, it is supposed to tell the story of the entire series, not just the first book. In 102 minutes, 16 books. A big ass piece of history crunched into a feature-length movie. What could possibly go wrong? What? Finally, our last red flag and probably the most incredible one. The movie was supposed to come out in 2014 and was pushed back to 2015. But, even not counting the Starblade Chronicles, the last 3 books, because they're kind of a separate series without being completely separate, finally, the 13th and final tome in the series only came out in 2014. It means that the adaptation, the inspiration, is drawing inspiration from something that doesn't exist yet. The director is Phineas and Ferb's older brother. You just created a time paradox! Generally, in these conditions, the fan complain and tell the classic joke of, dude, did they even read the book? But in this precise case, no! They didn't read the book! There was no book to read! I think you've gotten the point by now. The idea behind the movie was cursed from the beginning. But what about the movie itself? Is it a good movie? Well, let's just ask Rotten Tomatoes, shall we? The scariest thing about that is that 12% of the critics thought this movie was worth my time, which it's not. You know what, my doctor told me I needed more positive vibes in my life, so we're gonna start by what I did like of the movie. From a totally personal standpoint, I thought the casting was fairly decent. Even the casting, dare I say, was good. Even though they aged the main character, I must admit that Ben Barnes and Alicia Vikander are exactly how I always imagined Tom and Alice while they were older. As for Billy Bradley, the Spook's former apprentice, I like that he was played by Kit Harington and he dies in a coherent manner that closely resembles the book. Plus, his acting as the apprentice who copes with a shitty master is hilarious. Congratulations movie, you managed to perfectly nail a minor character! That was not supposed to come up like that. As for Jeff Bridges, I must admit he is the face of John Gregory and his acting is top notch. He does give a very good performance and he is really entertaining to watch. Even though the color of the exterior shot are mostly shit, the interior scene have very beautiful lighting and the effects are very decent. So from a practical standpoint, yes, the movie looks good. That plus the costume, the set and the props looked very nice in my opinion, really pleasant to the eye. So now the fun part. What is wrong with this movie? No, I'm gonna reformulate. What the hell is wrong with this movie? First of all, I think they just dropped a cat on a keyboard, took every single word that they could made out of this, and they shot a script with it. Yes, gonna drop some English knowledge. The verb to shit is actually irregular. To shit, shat, shit. Oh, I thought that everybody that was watching The Seventh Son just lost half of their brain cells, so why not rectify the shot by dropping some knowledge on it? Anyway, back to the movie. The first problem we see in the film is the character of John Gregory. Master Gregory is my favorite character in the book. He has been defending the county against witches for 6 decades. And one very important detail about John Gregory is the fact that he never eats or barely eats before a fight because he knows the digestion would just slow him down. He also tried to get as away as possible as any kind of drug or alcohol or any substance that might alter your way of thinking and your way of movement. And in the movie, he's a borderline alcoholic who barely knows how to fight a boggart. I get that in the adaptation, the inspiration, he's supposed to be sad about losing the love of his life, but he lost the love of his life in the book too, and that only made him stronger, a better spook, somebody that will always face the dark with everything he has. And in the movie, we got a sad 60-year-old teen with a broken heart. Plus, this version is a horrible master. In the book, John Gregory's many catchphrases include, never be afraid to ask questions. In the movie, he plain out refuses to answer Tom's questions because he deems them too stupid. Isn't part of a training answering question? As a matter of fact, isn't the main purpose of teaching answering question, dropping knowledge? It's not even a question of being faithful to the book, it's a question of coherence. Another thing that bothered me is that he drinks a lot as mentioned, he is violent with Tom, and he gets angry too easily. In the books, we learn that John Gregory used to have an apprentice called Bill Arkwright and became a spook of his own. Bill is a character that drinks a lot, is violent, and is angry all the time. So they took these two polar opposite characters and merged them together to result in one character, because they didn't have time to put all the characters from the book in the movie. A little advice: if you can't put everything in one movie, make more movies! Funny enough, it's almost like adapting 13 books in a single film. Oh, sorry, drawing inspiration from 13 books into a single movie was a bad idea! And you think this is bad enough, but I haven't even mentioned the most incredible treason they made. Tom's mother. Once again, I'm not gonna spoil, but in the book, Tom's mother is one of the most important characters and she bears a dark secret that can shake reality itself. And in the movie, she's a housewife that is barely present on screen. Funny enough, in the book we do have a housewife that is never present on screen. Her name is Ellie and she's Tom's sister-in-law. But the mother, she's strong, she's powerful, she has powers, and even she is the one to write to John Gregory the day of Tom's birth, assuring that in 12 years Tom will become the best apprentice he's ever had, while in the movie she's reduced to the rank of almost servant with almost no personality. How can you mess up this bad? It's like somebody was to ask you a glass of water and instead of giving it to them, you would just drop the glass of water on the floor by saying, "Oh, sorry, I was inspired to drop it." Then Tom himself is an awful character. He abandoned his family, something that he would never have done in the book, just because he dreamt about becoming a spook. Of course, in the movie it says that these are not dreams, they're vision. But in the end, Tom still decides to go with John Gregory without any question. While in the book, he does have very big resilience to follow Gregory because he doesn't want to be a spook in the first book. He wants to stay at home with his family. Tom Ward is a very complex character in the book. And unfortunately, in the movie, he transformed into some kind of Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, Eric fantasy hero who will do anything to get a bit of action. Attached to that, we have Tom's family. They exist, I guess. It's sad knowing the fact that in the book, most of Tom's journey is concealing the life of his family and his work as a spook, which brings the hate of everything from the dark. Tom's tried to keep his family safe from the many enemies he makes by slaying witches, bugger, demon, etc. In the book, of course, we don't see them much, but philosophically speaking, they're among the most important characters. Tom always makes reference about how his father raised him, how he was playing with his brother when he was a kid. I can't even conceive how stupid of a decision it was to give them almost no screen time in the movie. But every good story needs a good villain, and this movie offers us one of the antagonists of the first book, Mother Malkin. Mother Malkin is an old disgusting woman, a witch that was buried alive, that feasted on larves and cockroach because she was too powerful to be killed, and if she was ever killed, she was rise up again as an entity from the dark, almost indestructible. And never mind, she's a beautiful woman that's used to date the spook and can turn into a dragon. As a matter of fact, yes, in the book the spook used to have a witch for girlfriend. Her name was Meg Skelton. She was a Lamia witch and he did love her, but they decided to end it because their relationship was hurting the county. Are you sure that the movie made every single bad decision it could? Because I think there's still space. Once again, they decided to merge two characters that had nothing to do with each other. Meg and Mother Malkin. First of all, if you want Meg as your antagonist, why don't you do it? Why don't you just put Meg as the bad guy of the movie instead of putting her with Mother Malkin's name and backstory? Second, by taking this decision, we lose all the subtlety of the character of Meg Skelton. She's a Lamia witch. That means that, yes, she's dangerous, but not on purpose. She does care for John Gregory. She does love him, and she does care that she's putting people in danger. In the meantime, in the film, Mother Malkin is just a conscious, bloodthirsty, rampaging monster bitch. Third problem, who the hell did ask for Mother Malkin in the first place? Yes, she's a powerful witch, but she's barely in the first book and she only comes back over 10 books later. The main antagonist of the first book is actually Bonnie Lizzie. She brings back Mother Malkin just for her to be killed a few pages later. This doesn't make any sense. It's like if in the final Harry Potter novel, Harry was not battling Voldemort, he was battling Crabbe and Goyle. I said it by the past, and I'm gonna say it again. When you transform a movie into any kind of medium, of course, you need to change things. But these are not changes. These are treason. There is a difference. A change still tries to be coherent with the story, while a treason totally wipes out the purpose of the original medium. This is treason. This is spitting in Joseph Delaney's face, in every single fan's face. This is spitting in my face. The movie just spat in my face. The last thing I'm gonna mention is the absence of Grimmelkin. It is very complicated to talk about this character. She has been elected the favorite character of the fan base. So in a way, I'm kind of sad not to have seen her because she's objectively one of the best characters in the series. On the other hand, the movie is barely coherent as it is, so I'm not gonna start complaining about them not adding stuff. Plus, Grimmelkin does deserve far better than being in this movie. She's the fusion of Black Widow and Bellatrix Lestrange. She's a witch assassin that uses bone magic, but is also incredibly skilled with throwing knives, daggers, and swords. And once again, I'm not gonna spoil because her storyline is just amazing. But in the end, in an adaptation, an inspiration that tries to capture every single part of the book series, how could they have left Grimmelkin apart, knowing fully well that she was indeed the reader's favorite character? It's like making Game of Thrones without Tyrion Lannister! Anyway guys, I know this video must have been pretty hard to follow if you don't know the Spook series, so I can only recommend you to read the books. They're amazing. Plus they're very easy to read, honestly. I started reading them when I was 12 and still as an adult I like them. Tell me in the comments what do you think about this movie and what is in your opinion the worst movie adaptation of all time? Then subscribe and activate the bell to be notified when a new video comes up. Share this video with all your friends. Go on my Instagram to support my artwork. It's always so rewarding to see it grow, and as always, thanks for watching.